Ah, Red Dead Redemption 2. If you are watching this video, you're either a casual fan, or a die-hard fan, or basically a cowboy who lives in the digital world of Red Dead Redemption 2's Old West. I am a new fan of this epic western adventure, and after spending nearly 100 hours riding around in 1899's Wild West, surviving gunfights, robbing stagecoaches, going through heartbreak, and admiring sunsets from the tops of mountains, I am now ready to share with you all the most unexpected things that made me fall in love with Red Dead Redemption 2. American Beauty. I went into RDR2 expecting a fast-paced action game, but I did not expect every frame of that to be dripping with beauty. We get to see every shade of American Beauty in this game. We start the game off in a snowy hellscape, where our protagonist Arthur Morgan has to lead a series of dangerous missions to help his gang of outlaws regain control of the area. But as the weather changes, the snow melts, revealing the grand vistas of the American expanse the game is actually set in. I moved to America a decade ago in deep winter, and like Arthur in the beginning, was buried in snow and freezing cold. But then, spring sprung, and the green wonders of the American heartland came into view, and it was incredible. It was a reward for patience and perseverance from nature. We experienced something very similar in RDR2. The Vanderland gang is a community of nomads, so they travel from place to place to escape the law and also find new opportunities. This experience rewards you with living and exploring different regions in the game as the story progresses, like the Rocky Mountains, the Southern Bayou, the New Mexican desert, and early 20th century metropolitan city life. They're all different, and they're all so beautiful. All these areas have their own characteristic beauty, and whether you experience them during missions in the background or are immersed in them while roaming the open world, the amazing visuals get you hooked from the first frame and leave a lasting impression. I often found myself reminiscing about the game's mountaintops and deep forests when I was not playing, a telltale sign of a stunning looking video game. Guns blazing. I expected to enjoy the action in RDR2 because Rockstar games are well known for action, but I did not expect the action to be in so many forms and deliver with such consistent intensity. Turns out, as an outlaw, Arthur is always courting action, whether he's looking for it or not. During missions, you engage in train robberies, bank break-ins, jailbreaks, gang war shootouts, and sometimes just good old-fashioned fisticuffs. But even while not on a mission, the danger is never too far away. You get held up in a robbery, some big mouth shoots off at you in a bar, wolves pounce on you at night in the wilderness, you stumble upon an enemy gang hideout in the middle of nowhere, gunfighters will randomly challenge you to a duel, and in all those cases, Arthur has no option but to pull the guns out and shoot his way out. Arthur may be a gun-carrying outlaw, but the world he's in is full of those quiet monsters. Too many missed shots, and you are done for the day, cowpoke. The weapons in Arthur's arsenal are also diverse. There is the classic Western six-shooter, then there are repeaters, a type of action rifle used commonly in that time, sniper rifles, shotguns, and hunting rifles that Arthur uses to minimize damage on the body of the animal he's hunting. There are also unique knives we find in the world that add a layer of challenge during close combat. Of course, if all of that gets too much, you can just go to the saloon, find the loudest drunk there, swing a punch into his face, and before you know it, you're both rolling in the mud, throwing haymakers. The action is sweet, it's addictive, and it never goes easy on you. The best Western experience. There is, of course, plenty of action that is good enough to pull you into the world, but what makes you stay are the little things. The sandbox of RDR2's Old West offers a true slice of life experience, and this is really what makes us lose ourselves in this time capsule. Arthur lives in a camp with his gangmates and wakes up in the morning to Pearson's coffee and stew. Eating, drinking, sleeping are necessary to maintain Arthur's vitals. We have a choice of eating home-cooked food and drink for every meal, or eat whatever we find along the journey, including gum, candies, tobacco, salted meats, bread, biscuits, canned fruit, and veggies. We also can hunt and forage for our food. More on this later. Arthur also has a choice of eating and drinking at restaurants in every town he visits. Consuming too much makes Arthur overweight. Too little, and he's malnourished. We also get to stock up on food, horse care items, and clothing in general stores. Clothing is a huge part of the experience. Hats, coats, vests, chaps, suspenders, boots. Just because it is the Wild West doesn't mean you cannot live in style. Every store offers different clothes and you can stock up on them to your heart's content and mix and match to your mood. You start the day with one outfit, then switch it up mid-ride with another one from the stock on your horse, and then change up the next day while you're on the other side of the map. Clothing is not just for fun. There are areas where you're required to change outfits based on temperatures. And changing outfits also helps keep your detection meter low in areas where Arthur is wanted for crimes. This level of incredible detail and immersion in the day-to-day life of Arthur makes RDR2 hard to put down. The sheer amount of real-life detail in Arthur's everyday experience upgrades the game from being just a video game to a living, breathing historical world. Animal Planet. An unexpected, delightful surprise in RDR2 is that the game is filled with life everywhere. Not just the scheming scoundrels that lurk in the Wild West's towns, but you just have to ride out of town to be covered in nature's bounties, and Arthur has to learn to utilize everything he finds in the endless greenery. Deer, rabbits, elk, snakes, birds, foxes are plentiful in the wild. But as Arthur goes deeper into the wild, there are legendary creatures waiting to be found, and killing them generates rewards in the form of upgraded material for outfits. Arthur can either hunt the animals with a bow or guns, or he can admire them from afar with a study feature. Doing either adds information about the animal in his compendium, sort of like a Wild West Pokédex. It's not just animals. There are plants growing all around Arthur that provide benefits upon consumption. Mint, oregano, sage, thymes, mushrooms are among the many herbs waiting to be plucked and can be spotted when Arthur enters his eagle eye mode. Some kind strangers will also gift Arthur recipes that he can use to craft cures for either himself or his horse. There are also poisonous herbs that can be used for nefarious purposes. RDR2 is a meditation on the complex relationship we have with animals. Arthur is compelled to hunt and kill some animals for survival purposes. Kill some because they hunt him in packs, but also there are animals that Arthur can shower his affection on. There are dogs in the world, for example, that you can pat. If that was the whole game, riding around and patting dogs everywhere, I wouldn't complain. Then there is your horse. Arthur's horse is a companion creature that is at times player 2 in the game. It has a personality, an attitude, has vitals that need to be cared for with food, and also requires recharge time, just like Arthur. The horse is a key player in gunfights, and Arthur riding with his horse in the Great American West without a care in the world is an epic experience. Arthur can also pat and brush and feed his horse, all of which add to the bonding scale between you and it, which leads to unlocking new benefits and increased speed and stamina while riding. Then there are the horrible times when your horse suffers irreversible damage during a shootout or a bad fall and dies. It is devastating, and if you don't have a save where you can go back to a better time when your best bud was still alive, Arthur will have to fall back onto another horse stored in a stable or buy or steal another horse. Either way, the game is never the same, and protecting your horse is just as important as keeping yourself safe if you don't want to suffer unbelievable heartbreak. Like most players, I did not jump into this Western game expecting to learn about the Rocky Mountain elk or the timber rattlesnake or the medicinal properties of the creeping thyme herb, but it was a welcome addition. Lovable Trainwreck. When you think of other Rockstar games, a lot of things come to mind, but story is not on top of that list. However, with RDR2, every moment, big or small, every move you make in the game is story driven. Despite the freedom-filled sandbox, the story is as critical to the game as a hat to a cowboy. Everything Arthur does is to fulfill his role in the Vanderlyn gang, whether it is the main missions or side quests with the gang members, or donating money to the camp's funds, or even bringing the carcass of his kills to add to the stew that his gang consumes every day. The story is also not a happy-go-lucky story either. The tale of the Vanderlyn gang is a deliberately slow-moving train wreck. It's a perfect story for lovers of history and mythology because, like those epic tales, you also get to experience a sort of a negative progression that is fascinating but also a little difficult to swallow. Arthur's gang is a group of people that are making objectively terrible decisions, but he is so loyal that he lacks the conviction to just say no. Dutch, the gang's leader, makes grand promises to his followers, but his actions push the gang into deeper turmoil with every passing day. Arthur, a lone man with no family to call his own, is blinded by his love for this community and keeps going along with the group's bad moves. On the surface, it is the story of a powerful gang reaching for greater heights, but underneath, it is the story of an abusive relationship, one that our protagonist both benefits from and suffers from. Along with Dutch and Arthur, the gang is filled with interesting characters that add to the immersive central plot. Hosea, Lenny, Sean, Sadie are all great companions to Arthur. A young John Marston, the protagonist of the first Red Dead Redemption, is an aspiring, flawed protege in the gang as well. Then there is Micah, the most questionable gang member that Arthur is at constant odds with. The gang story is also a mirror to the philosophy of the Wild West culture and shows why that fascinating, dangerous time had to come to an end. There are also smaller stories everywhere around Arthur. Strangers in danger, treasure hunters, horror-filled homes, and even glimpses into everyday societal goings-on that were mundane in the Old West but are terrifying to us today are playing out in the world. Unlike most of the missions where Arthur does not have a choice in how the story moves forward, at least in these smaller stories, he gets a say, and this leads to rewards or shootouts and a dip in the honor scale. The best thing I can say about RDR2's characters and story is they inspired me to go live in other Western story worlds, whether it is the treasure trove of cowboy movies or the great Western TV shows made between the 50s and the 70s. These are all the things that I did not expect to be waiting for me in RDR2, but also what made me fall hopelessly in love with this game. How was your experience with the game? What unexpected cool things did you find? If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking it and subscribing to my channel.